Picture the scene. The year is 1887 and it's dinner time at Osborne House on the Isle of Wight. The smell of curry wafts up from the kitchen. Your appetite begins to swell. Soon enough, your Indian attendant emerges from the kitchen and serves up your new favourite dish. One he cooked up routinely in his homeland and one that you now enjoy routinely too. Hey, it's Kaz, and today we're cooking Queen Victoria's chicken curry. In 1887, after her Golden Jubilee, Victoria brought Indian attendants into her household, and she became very fond of one in particular. Abdul Karim, first hired as a servant, formed a very close bond with Victoria and ended up having a huge impact on her life, influencing everything from her daily routines and private correspondence to what appeared on her dinner plate. Yes, thanks to Karim, curry went from being an occasional treat to part of Victoria's regular routine. That's the intro. It's time for some cooking. Let's step into her shoes through food. Today I'm following a recipe from Miss Beeton's book of household management, published in 1861. The book is an extensive guide to running a household in Victorian Britain and includes a recipe for curried chicken. So a little bit of history as I do some prep. By the time Queen Victoria came to the throne in 1837, curry wasn't new in Britain. You can find an early printed curry in Hannah glass with a recipe appearing in the 1758 edition of The Art of Cookery Made Plain and Easy. In London, curry goes public fast. In 1773, the Norris Street Coffee House in Haymarket was advertising true Indian curry paste and even sending out curry and rice to homes. And in 1810, Sheikh Dean Mohammed opened the Hindustan Coffee House, often cited as London's first Indian restaurant. So curry is already in the air when Victoria arrives, and it reaches the palace too. Food historian Annie Gray notes curry de poulet on a Windsor Castle dinner menu dated the 29th of December 1847. Later, Victoria's public connection to India intensifies. Parliament passes the Royal Titles Act in 1876, enabling the Empress of India title, and in 1887 she brings Indian attendants into her household, including Abdul Karim, the Indian attendant who became one of Victoria's closest companions, and who's often linked with bringing Indian culture and food into her day-to-day life at court. She even notes in her diary on 20th of August 1887 that she'd had some excellent curry made by one of her Indian servants, and in the late 1880s, curries start showing up on her menus regularly. Okay, so back to the kitchen. Let's melt the butter in the pan and fry the onion on a medium to low heat for around 5 minutes until translucent. Then add in the flour and curry powder and let that cook for a few minutes. So we're essentially making a curry roux as the base, which I've never done before for a curry sauce, but I'm not hating the idea. Add in the stock bit by bit and stir constantly to make sure no lumps form. After all the flour is dissolved and the roux is simmering away, add in the apple slices and the red currant jelly and let that melt in. Then cover and cook for 30 minutes on a low heat to let the apples break down. Add in the chicken pieces and coat in the sauce. And cover the pan again and cook on a low heat for another 30 minutes to let the chicken warm through and absorb some of that flavour. I actually wouldn't mind finishing here, but the recipe calls for the sauce to be strained and poured over the chicken. So let's take the chicken out and strain the sauce. Also, before or after you strain the sauce, add in a dessert spoon of full fresh lemon juice. And we're ready to plate. Serve alongside some boiled rice. I'm using basmati. Get a few pieces of the chicken and generously pour the sauce over the top. And I am genuinely surprised at how nice this came out. Typically when I make a curry, I use a lot more seasoning, both in terms of variety and quantity, but the curry flavour is still really coming through here. The consistency is really smooth and velvety. There's sweetness from the apples, but overall it's balanced out by that lemon juice and red currant jelly. It's a really nice sauce. The chicken is really soft and juicy. I usually prefer my curries on the spicy side, But apart from that, I really can't fault this, especially considering how simple it is. If you've got some leftover baked chicken, really give this a go, you won't regret it. If you want to recreate any of the recipes seen in these videos, head over to my website, link in the description. Like and subscribe.